Hello adventurers, and welcome back to my channel. I'm just getting ready this morning, and let me tell you kind of where I'm at. I yesterday pulled into a Cracker Barrel and I was there a little early. There was no shade coverage. It was pretty warm and toasty, and I was sitting there thinking, okay, I don't love this scenario. I feel like I'm here too early, even though it was almost 7 o'clock. There's just beaming down sun, so it's heating up the box so quickly. It was like 95 in the box, so hot. And so I was like, let me see if there's anything else in this area. And then it occurred to me that there was a campsite about 40 miles south of where I was that Dee and I had stayed at before. Now, on that particular night, we had kind of a weird night, wonderful day, weird night, but ultimately I had vowed I was going to come back here. So I am currently at the, I think it's Lordsburg, Middle Creek area. All of the Kansas lake areas that they have are like free camping, and some of them are better than others. This one was really, really nice, and I liked it a lot. So I just dipped in from Missouri over into Kansas by about a hop, skip, and a jump, and here we are. And last night when I pulled in, I was so happy because for the first time on this trip, I wasn't at a Walmart, a Cracker Barrel, or something like that. I was finally into territory where I could camp in the places that I love, and I truly soaked it in. Now, as you can see, it was very beautiful and super nice, and I loved every minute of it, and I got to watch the geese and the boats and all the things. But I also sat down and decided I was going to make some dinner last night. So I made this new kind of dish. I was kind of playing with different textures. I used some chickpeas, some cilantro lime rice, some sausage, and I kind of made a bowl of sorts. I've been really into bowls lately because I just really enjoy packing in all of my delicious nutrients. So this was a super high, like protein rich bowl for dinner, and it was a really great fun experiment because I had the space to do it and I just wanted to kind of enjoy my dinner. So I made this. But now I am in the process of trying to get myself together. I still have to pick out my clothes for the day, but I think I'm going to open up my doors for a few minutes to kind of let some of the heat dissipate. I noticed that the sun was shining directly on the box, and it went from 70 degrees to 85 degrees in about 15 minutes. So the sun has definitely shifted over the ridge line, and it is front and center, which is great for solar, not so great for warmth. I have my fan going, you can probably hear it. And I've been doing a few small tasks this morning, including painting my toes. Needed to get that all updated because I might wear some sandals this week. We'll see. But I think I'm in a good place now. I feel really, really good. The sleep last night was so restful. All my neighbors have been super nice. The views are just so refreshing. And today I think I'm going to hit the ground running towards somewhere. I don't know where, but somewhere. Ooh, it's so nice outside this morning. We have some tent campers. Somebody pulled into that last blank spot. Wow. It's so beautiful in this direction, and a lot of people have actually pulled out this morning. So I'm just trying to do a few things here in the van, and then I'm gonna do the same. But this is amazing. I've been just kind of like soaking it in for a couple hours now, and it's really nice. I woke up early enough where I could do that because I knew that I wanted to just kind of have this moment to kind of unwind. I did a few social media posts, I scheduled some things, and now it's time for me to start moving around a little bit. The only downside to having the doors open is there's some flies that have gotten in, so I'm sure I'll have to deal with that later, but you know what? I'm okay with that for these views because this has been nice. It was supposed to rain today, and I noticed last night that the clouds had kind of moved away, and so I'm hoping that maybe I'll have a good weekend, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. For now, though, I think it's finally time for me to get dressed, so I better close up the van and do that really quickly because it's gonna get real hot real quickly. I have my life together, and I've been just wearing my little shades. I have a couple more things I need to do before I head out for the day. And I'm gonna say this, if it wasn't getting warmer here, I would just stay another night, but it's getting pretty toasty and sticky here. It's getting to be that time of year where everything kind of has to start to pivot just a little bit away from the warmth. I was great whenever I was up north, but the problem was the air quality was not good. So I need to come up with another place that I'm gonna be going. So after I meet my parents, I'll be figuring out how I'm gonna shift and where I'm gonna go. I do have something kind of cool that I'm gonna be doing late summer, almost fall. And so I know I have to be in a certain area at that time. But up until that point, I am going to be meeting up with my friends at some point for one adventure. And then I have a gap in there of time to kind of play with. So I got to figure out what I want to kind of float in. I have a couple more patches that I need to hang up so I can get all of my kind of like admin behind the scenes stuff done. Everything is cleaned up, put away into its spots in the back. And I mentioned before, it's just important to put everything in its space because then you don't have issues. Okay, here comes the hard choices. We have this guy, which is a circle, and this guy, which is a square. And I am getting more limited on my space before I hit like these bins. So what I'll do is I'll just push everything in as I go to make sure it's in a good place. And then I might start trying to figure out how to bend some of these. Maybe, like that would be good there. And then possibly I could go like over here and start bending there. So many of you have commented that you started collecting patches because you liked what I was doing with my ceiling. A lot of people have referred to it as a patchwork quilt. And yeah, that's basically what it is for me. It's like a quilt of my journeys. And each place that we go that has a patch, I try to purchase it. It's the one souvenir thing that I allow myself to get. They range anywhere between $3 and $8 depending. And so a lot of people also say, oh my gosh, that's a huge investment on your ceiling, and valid, it is. However, it's the only thing that I buy on the road. I don't buy shirts, I don't buy cups, I don't buy like liquor or anything like that. A lot of people buy those things. They buy shot glasses, they buy spoons, magnets. I don't do any of those things. This is literally the one thing because it's the only thing I realistically have room for. But if you've seen my tiny home, you know that after they come out of the van, they go in on a huge wall display. And there's something really magical about standing there and just staring into all of the things that you've done. Because over time, if you just try to list everything, it just starts to get a little bit wild. Let me give you a small example of this with just this trip. Are you guys ready? Picture this times 8 years, okay? Just on this one trip, I left Texas, I went to Kansas, I went to the world's largest belt buckle, I went to the Eisenhower Rose Garden, I then went to the Pony Express Museum, I bought cheese curds, I saw the Wizard of Oz, I went to a military museum, I then pivoted once again, I did nature trails, more than one of them, I saw a waterfall, I went to the Red Bull soapbox, I went to many of the Freedom Rocks, I had a blast with friends, I tried new things such as gourmet chocolates, and then also delicious Wisconsin cheese. I camped in Iowa, Kansas, Wisconsin, Minnesota, and now I am in Missouri. That's all on one trip, and that's not all the things I did. So as you can see, it very quickly goes by, and whenever it does, you just start going, wow, I've done a lot of stuff. I've also said many times, I set really unrealistic goals for myself so I can share as many things as I can so you guys can see what's available and out there. And in doing so, it has powered me to do so many things that I might not have thought to do before. For example, I don't like Spam, but I went to the Spam Museum. I like mustard, but I went to the Mustard Museum, which takes it to an extreme. I've been to a professional wrestling museum. I've been to tons of history places. I have gone to places that are both small and large. I have been to literally tiny town. And on the opposite side of that, I have been to larger than life pecans like yesterday. It just goes to show there's so many things that are out there. And with this crazy life that I live, it is all accessible to me because I am willing to just take my time and not necessarily spend a lot of money on stuff and just instead get like patches. You can do lots of things, guys. You just have to envision yourself being able to do it. And I think that's the bigger picture here. Again, not everybody's going to move like I do, and I totally get that. That is valid, very valid, because it can be exhausting. However, even if you take a simple day where you do something in your own backyard, we've shown so many places that are within 10 or 15 minutes of some of you guys, and you said, oh my gosh, you're right down the road from me. And so many of you have said that in those right down the road places, you've never been there. So this is why I kind of do the things I do. But going back to the patches for just a second and the sentimental purpose that they have for me personally. I've mentioned many times before that before I started traveling 8 years ago, I had a regular life that was very identifiable with a lot of other people. It was a wash, rinse, repeat. I would go to work, I would come home, I would do things with my friends, I would do the same thing the next day, and so on and so forth. I'd pay my bills, I would deal with my responsibilities, and that got really draining at times, and the stresses of just life and things like that really got to me in a way that, you know, I'm not really going to expand upon all of the depth of it, but just know I was not in a great place before I started traveling, and I took a chance on myself, and I've said that many times, and I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know if it was going to be short-lived or if it was going to last a long time, and here we are 8 years later. Whenever I look on at the patches are something that I didn't start doing at first, but once I did start doing it, it was a physical way for me to see everything and just realize, wow, I would have done none of these things if I would have stopped and just said, oh no, this is a stupid idea. You know, and that's the thing, is a lot of people who come to van life come for various reasons. They may want the adventure, they may want the escapism, they may want the solitude, and all of those reasons are super valid. For myself, it was about allowing myself experiences that otherwise I wouldn't allow myself. It was about seeking out knowledge, learning from the world around me, being quiet in moments as opposed to having to go. And even though I still go, I have those intentional moments where I sit and I just take it in and appreciate it. For example, the day before Collie and I parted, there was this beautiful trail along the Mississippi, and we went to go see the sunfish. The sunfish was cool, the walk was awesome, but we sat probably for an hour under this gazebo, and I didn't film any of it because I was just there. In those moments of just being there, you start to like replay the reel of your life and how many things that like you've done and where you've been and all of the things that have made impact on you, the views that you remember that were just too stunning. And then you kind of also think back on the other side of that of, if I hadn't have done that one hard thing, I wouldn't be here. And I think that that's the bigger story. Do the hard thing. You have to take a step toward the hard thing to get the hard thing out of the way so you can appreciate the reward of whatever it is. It's not necessarily just about van life or travel, but in life, if you don't take a step toward the hard thing because you're afraid of it, you will never get to what happens after the hard thing, which is the good stuff. So I just kind of soaked that in, and it was wonderful. And it was a beautiful view, and it was windy, but at the same time, it was like the wind was just washing over you, and you were put into this mindset of like what it used to be like and what your life is like and what it has been and what it is to come. And I think that that's the bigger picture of the patches. They do that for me. It's like coming back and realizing, okay, I probably would have never gone to, for example, Rock City with my friends. I might have gone with like my family on a family vacation, but not with my friends because I wouldn't have had those friends. Or let's see, Montana in general. I had never been to Montana ever. And because I made friends with people who lived in Montana, I went to Montana. Or let's see, let's go over here and just randomize. Oh, Tucumcari, New Mexico, Route 66. That was actually me realizing a dream that I had had from childhood and not even fully realizing it yet, but that is to come. And I think that that's the bigger thing. If you have a goal, even if it's a single goal, make a step toward it. And you never know what could come out on the other side. Now on this journey, I've had a lot of Cracker Barrels, a lot of Walmarts, and it hasn't been the most beautiful like it is today. But at the same time, if I wouldn't have said, okay, I'm okay with being a little uncomfortable, I would have never gotten to see some of the incredible things that we have. And now that we're moving into this particular chapter where we're going to be seeing a few more of these kinds of views, I'm really looking forward to that. So remember guys, we're not here for a long time, but we are here for a good time. Thanks for coming along with me. It's been a weird ride. 8 years is a weird long ride to ride along with someone, but some of you guys have been here since the very beginning, and well, we're looking at 8 more to come, at least. We'll see what happens. Until next time, bye.